Hello guys, good morning everyone. Welcome to 21st Century IAS Academy online Indian economy classes. We are in the chapter of monetary policy. I think yesterday we had already initiated the topic, that is monetary policy tools that are available with the RBI to control the money supply and also simultaneously the inflation. So in that we had already learned what is meant by CRR, that is cash reserve ratio, and also what is meant by SLR, that is statutory liquidity ratio. So in that context, let us see the other instruments or the tools of monetary policy as well. So one is already cash reserve ratio, I had explained. Another one is statutory liquidity ratio, and if you remember both of these as definitions. So last time I told you cash reserve ratio means that every bank has to retain a certain percentage of its demands and time liabilities in terms of cash with RBI. A proportion of your demand and time liabilities, you know what is meant by D&T, that is a savings account, and also your time deposits, that is fixed deposits. As part of it, that every bank has to save. So somebody asked this question, sir, is it mandatory for all banks to go with the CRR and SLR? Yes, most of the banks, yes. అయితే NBFCs, cooperative banks, ఇలాంటివి CRR and SLR sometimes they won't maintain. NBFCs they don't maintain, okay, but most of the commercial banks, in one case all the commercial banks, they maintain the CRR and SLR. Those banks which comes under like regional rural banks or cooperative banks, some banks they were given some exemptions, okay. So that is what we generally see in your core economy part. So already I think we have observed these things. Payment banks వీటిలో కూడా నేను కొన్ని చెప్పాను ఆల్రెడీ, మీరు క్లాస్ వినుంటే కనుక లాస్ట్ టైం. ఎనీవే, when comes to the statutory liquidity ratio, it is also similar to cash reserve ratio, okay. It is also similar to CRR, but here the percentage of the demand and time liabilities we save in terms of cash or gold or government securities. And I told you most of the banks they prefer government securities, because government securities they give some interest in return. When it comes to the gold, it is fluctuated all the time. We don't know when the gold prices increase or when the gold prices decrease. So generally it is a big problem for even the banks also to take this gold or to buy this gold, because actually we don't know when it will increase and when it will decrease. Now in this COVID time, because supply is very much constrained and the demand was stagnant, so the price is increasing. Tomorrow this condition may be reversed, and cash definitely it won't give you any interest until and unless you put this cash in terms of investment. So CRR, SLR, the basic difference is in at what terms and in which form you maintain it, okay. Second difference is CRR won't get any interest, but when it comes to the SLR, if you buy SLR equivalent government securities, then the bank will get the interest rate on these government securities. And one more point is, when it comes to this SLR, that is statutory liquidity ratio, if it is 10% of demand and time liabilities, if the bank wants to buy more than stipulated amount, and for example if the bank wants to buy 20% equivalent government securities under SLR, it is allowed. So ఎందుకు అంటే banks feel safe to buy the government securities. అంటే SLR actually a bank has to maintain only 10%, but if the bank wishes to maintain it 20%, it is allowed. There is no problem in it. But generally why banks do, instead of giving loans to someone, sometimes banks prefer to buy the government securities, because government securities the bank no need to get worried, because government will definitely pay, okay. Government cannot become a defaulter, government will not become a defaulter, because government every time if it borrows anyway it will pay, okay. So government ne nammapothe inkevaru nammutam, ala kakunda if a bank gives loans to someone like an individual or business, it is bit risky when relatively compared with the government. So if the bank wishes to keep more than the prescribed limit under SLR, it is allowed. This is one point we should understand, that is SLR. And the next part is repo rate, the third one. So what is meant by this repo rate? First, as usual, as I told you, first I will give you the definition. It is the most frequently used tool. And already meeku cheppanu, I told you in which format I discuss all these things. First I will discuss what is what, then I will relate this particular monetary policy tool with money supply and inflation. So that is how we are going to learn all these topics. So it is a most frequently used tool. It is the rate at which, it is the interest rate at which RBI gives loans to the banks. Okay, it is the interest rate at which RBI gives loans to the banks. And also some other important points, it is same as OMO, open market operations. ఇది నేను మళ్ళీ తర్వాత చెప్తాను, you just write this, except that there is an inbuilt clause of automatic repurchase after a specific period. And one more thing is, banks can keep extra government securities as collateral extra government securities under SLR as collateral. Okay, so this is the definition. So what exactly meant by this? So last time I told you, sometimes banks they get into one situation that is called financial mismatches. And sometimes the banks may be in need of some money, right? Sometimes the banks may be in need of some money. So because of its financial mismatch, sometimes SBI bank may be in need of money. So such times all these banks, especially the commercial banks which are maintaining the CRR, SLR and other monetary policy things under RBI, or the banks which are generally regulated by the RBI, they can avail a loan from the RBI also. Okay, so if these banks take any loan from RBI, the interest rate that these banks paid to RBI is nothing but repo rate. Repo means repurchase obligation. Repo abbreviation is repurchase obligation. What is meant by repurchase obligation? Now let me tell you. So if any person or if any entity takes a loan from a bank, it may be RBI or some other bank, it doesn't matter. If any entity takes a loan from a bank, you need to put some collateral. Collateral and security. You need to put some collateral. So here in this case also, if any commercial bank is having a financial mismatch, they also should put some collateral with RBI to avail that loan. So what is that collateral? I already told you, under the SLR, banks can keep their percentage of money or percentage of their demand and time liabilities with themselves, and generally they prefer the government securities and Japan. And in the last example, if you remember, in my last example, what I told you, SBI, person 1 he deposited 100 rupees, person 2 he deposited 100 rupees. Indro SLR, if it is 10%, so 10 rupees would be deducted and this 10 rupees, total 20 rupees. With this 20 rupees, they can keep in terms of cash or gold or G-Secs, that is called government securities. So general ga meeku em cheppanu, banks prefer government securities because they will give interest in return ani cheppanu. Apart from that, what I told you, the RBI prescribed SLR percentage is 10%. But beyond this, if the bank wishes to buy any extra government securities, ante if the banks prefers to buy or prefers to put the funds under SLR more than the prescribed limit, it is also allowed అని చెప్పాను. అంటే ఏంటి, RBI is saying under the SLR, out of your total deposits 10% you should put in terms of, or you should park the funds in terms of cash or gold or government securities. But generally banks prefer this. So now if the bank wishes to buy 20% equivalent worth of government securities under SLR, it is allowed. అంటే ఏంటి, 10% is the prescribed limit of the RBI. Another 10% extra is the wish of the bank. It is the prerogative of the bank, right? So this extra government securities, if the bank is having any, if the extra government securities, if the bank is having any under SLR, this can be put as a collateral. Collateral ante enti, I already told you, it is the security pledged for the repayment of a loan. So this extra government security, now any bank it can keep as collateral for the repo rate, that is called repurchase obligation. Ante ikkada em chestundi, what the bank, what the bank will do, if any bank wants to get some money from RBI, generally it go for a loan. But to take that loan, these government securities, that is extra government securities under the statutory liquidity ratio, I am repeating the point one more time, extra government securities under the SLR, these can be put as collateral with the RBI. But once you are taking the loan under the repo rate at a prescribed interest rate, what is that interest rate? RBI will tell you every 2 months. Ante in the RBI's bi-monthly policy, what is RBI bi-monthly policy? What is the percentage of CRR? What is the percentage of SLR? How much repo rate should be? How much reverse repo rate should be? Every 2 months RBI will tell, openly it will say to all banks and even to the government and even to the people, to the whole market, it will announce how much CRR is, how much SLR is, how much repo rate is, how much reverse repo rate is. RBI announces in the bi-monthly monetary policy. So according to it, under the repo rate, any bank can take loan at some prescribed interest rate, that is called repo rate, from the RBI. But for that, the collateral should be put. That collateral is the extra government securities that are bought by the bank under the SLR. Okay, right? So in the repurchase obligation, that is under the repo rate, the moment the banks are taking the loan from RBI, they will tell the banks at what time they will take these government securities again, and at what time I will repay the loan to you, they will tell you. అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఏంటి, ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఉన్నారండి ఇండివిజువల్, మీరు ఒక ఇల్లు తనఖా పెట్టారు, లెట్స్ సే లైక్ యూ హ్యావ్ పుట్ సమ్ హౌస్ యాజ్ అ కొలాటరల్ విత్ ద బ్యాంక్. మీరు ఒక లోన్ తీసుకున్నారు, కొన్ని రోజుల తర్వాత ఏమవుతుంది, వెన్ యూ గివ్ దిస్ లోన్ బ్యాక్, వెన్ యూ రీపే దిస్ లోన్ బ్యాక్, యూ విల్ గెట్ యువర్ హౌస్ బ్యాక్. అంటే మీరు పెట్టిన ఆ తనఖా సెక్యూరిటీ కొలాటరల్ ఏదైతే ఉందో అది వెనక్కి వస్తుంది, అంతే కదా. సేమ్ కండిషన్ హియర్, బ్యాంక్స్ దే ఆర్ టేకింగ్ ద లోన్ ఫ్రమ్ ద RBI by putting some government securities as collateral. While taking that loan itself, the banks will tell the RBI at what point of time we will repay the money back, or within 14 days, within 2 days, within 3 days, because it is a very short term loan. It is a very short term loan. Generally it is for 15 days, 14 days, ఆ టైం పీరియడ్ ఉంటుంది. సమ్టైమ్స్ 1 night కూడా ఉంటుంది, విత్ ఇన్ 1 night. ఓకే, సో ద బ్యాంక్ విల్ టెల్ ద RBI at what time I will repay the loan back, I will buy these government securities again from you. The banks will tell the RBI. That's why it is called as repurchase obligation. And when I am going to repurchase the collateral back, when I am going to repurchase the government securities which I am putting as collateral with you under the repo rate loan, another the bank will tell. That's why it is called as repurchase obligation. So when a bank is availing a loan from the RBI by putting these extra SLR government securities as collateral, the interest rate that is paid by the banks to the RBI is called as repo rate. repurchase obligation rate. Ante whenever you are taking a loan, you are supposed to pay some interest rate. So that interest rate that is paid by the banks to the RBI is called as what? Repurchase obligation rate. That is called as repo rate. So now this is the definition. But let me tell you how this is related to money supply and inflation. So let me come to that point again. So now repo rate. Let's say now the repo rate is 4%, and out of every 100 rupees you are supposed to pay 4 rupees. So scenario number 1, if the interest rate is 4%, let's say that banks are interested to take some loan. After 2 months, this interest rate reduced by 2%. Now what the banks will do? They take more loan from the RBI. Why? Because if someone is getting money for less interest rate, by taking that money, they can do more business by giving more loans to the people with higher interest rate. For example, generally, if you take a loan from a bank will give you loan at 1 rupee per month or 12% per annum. That is the interest rate generally charged by the banks if you avail a loan. If you take a housing loan, that amount of interest that is paid by a customer is even less, hardly 6%. 6% ante anta 10 రూపాయి వడ్డీ. Right? So generally some people, what they do, they take the loan from the bank for less interest rate, they give the money to other people at higher interest rate. Generally they do that. So do you think that banks won't do that? Banks will also do that. How? Under the repo rate, if the RBI is giving a loan at 2% of interest rate, the banks will readily take this money and they will give this money to other people for higher interest rates. So there is a profit of around 7%. Are you getting the point? So ante enti, if I reduce the repo rate, more loans will be taken by the banks, which means what? More loans banks will give to the customers also. From RBI, more money will go to banks. From banks, more money will go to people also. Okay. So because of that, what will happen? Supply of the money will increase. If the supply of the money is increasing, then what will happen? It may increase the GDP also, but it may increase the inflation also. So by keeping this thing into consideration, RBI will either reduce the interest rate or increase the interest rate. For example, if the inflation is too high, now what the RBI will do? From 2% it will increase the interest rate to 6%. Now the number of loans that are going from RBI to the banks will reduce. Then the money supply will also reduce. Getting the point? So that is called here how this repo rate is related to money supply and inflation. If you see, by increasing or decreasing the repo rate, the RBI is able to control the money supply. The same thing when comes to the CRR also. By increasing or decreasing the CRR, same thing when comes to the SLR also. By increasing or decreasing the SLR, same thing when comes to the repo rate also. By increasing or decreasing the repo rate, the RBI is able to control the money supply in the economy. By controlling the money supply, you can control the inflation, you can control the prices, you can control the demand also. And by increasing the money supply, you can also increase the investments in the country, which may increase your GDP ultimately. Right? So these were the things actually we have talked in the objectives of the monetary policy. So these are the things that we should remember. So this is called repo rate. So I am repeating one more time. Repo rate is the rate at which the banks take loan from the RBI, and for this, what is the collateral that the bank should put? The extra government securities that are bought by the banks under the SLR, and beyond a minimum prescribed limit, banks can buy extra government securities. So this is about repo rate. So without wasting the time, let us go into the next one, that is called reverse repo rate. So reverse repo rate is simply, one second please. So the fourth one, if you see, so reverse repo rate. So this is your reverse repo rate here. So reverse repo rate is the fourth one. So this is the first one we have talked about, this is second, this is third, and this is fourth. So what exactly meant by a reverse repo rate? So exactly it is reverse to repo rate. అంటే ఏంటి, in the repo rate what I told you, it is the interest at which banks take the loan from the RBI. Sometimes RBI to control the money supply, it also offers more interest rate to the banks. అంటే ఏంటి, banks can also give loans to RBI. జనరల్గా ఎందుకు ఇస్తారు, it is not because RBI wants money. Generally banks give loans to RBI because RBI will pay interest rate. For example, if two people are standing before a bank for a loan, you and RBI, both of you are standing. So banks offer the loans to whom? Definitely it will offer the loan to RBI because it is safe, it is no risky, and obviously the RBI will pay the interest rate regularly. If bank give loan to you, it is big problematic situation. Tomorrow you may disappear. Sometimes you may say I'm in big crisis, I'm not able to pay the loan back. So such kind of things happen. So to control the money supply, sometimes RBI also ask or RBI also take the loans from the banks. Why banks give loan to RBI? It is not because RBI is in need of money. They give the loans to RBI simply because RBI pay interest rate to it. Okay, so ikkada meeku em avutundi, RBI take the loans from banks again by taking a collateral, by giving a collateral. What is that collateral that RBI will put with the banks? That is again government securities. How RBI will get the government securities? RBI generally buys the government securities from the government itself. So the loan that is, sorry, the interest rate that is paid, the interest that is paid by the RBI to the banks is nothing but what? Reverse repo rate. Ante the rate of interest, ilage raskondi, the rate of interest paid by RBI to banks is nothing but what? Reverse repo rate. Okay, remember always repo rate is greater than reverse repo. So reverse repo, repo ki em teda ledu. Repo ante enti, banks take the loans from RBI. Reverse repo ante enti, RBI take the loans from the banks. Simply it is reverse to the repo rate. Same conditions. Obligation will be there, and RBI will tell when I am going to take the money from you back. RBI will tell it, and RBI will pay the interest rate. That interest rate is nothing but what? Again, reverse repo rate. And if you can relate this to money supply also, same thing. If you can reduce this reverse repo rate, no bank will give loan to RBI because it is a waste of money, right? Because RBI is giving very less interest rate. If the reverse repo rate is increased, then readily the banks will give loans to RBI. Ante meeku em avutundi, if the reverse repo rate is high, RBI will suck the money from the banks. Ante em avutundi, the liquidity with the banks or the money supply will reduce. Eventually the RBI can control the inflation. Or if the RBI do not wish to take or do not wish to control the money supply, now it will reduce the reverse repo rate. Though no bank will give the money to RBI, then the money supply with the banks or the liquidity with the banks increases. Eventually the supply of the money also increases. So it may increase the GDP and simultaneously the inflation also. So that is called as the rate of interest paid by the RBI to the banks. Generally reverse repo rate and repo rate, they generally tell in percentages, but actually officially they say in BPS points. And 100 BPS anted. BPS means it is equal to 1%. 100 BPS is equal to 1%. And if for example today reverse repo rate is 5%, if tomorrow in the RBI's monthly bi-monthly policy, if the RBI says we are reducing the reverse repo rate by 50 BPS points, means what? 5 minus 50 BPS points అంటే 0.5%, అంటే ఎంత 4.5%. సో అంటే ఏంటి, 100 BPS points is equal to 1%. Generally for our understanding we say in percentage, but generally the parameter that is used by the parameter that is used by the RBI is nothing but what? BPS, business points antar. Okay, so that is BPS. 100 BPS points is equal to 1%. So this is about reverse repo rate. So the next part, that is, so this is over, this is over, this is over, this is over. The next one is, fifth one is open market operations. So what is meant by OMO? Let us see. So open market operations. So in a shortcut actually we call this as OMO. So remember, while writing the examination, some of you might be knowing it. I am telling it for those people who don't know it. Never use the shortcuts without saying them clearly, which means, for example, never write as simply OMO. First of all, initially when you are writing about open market operations, you should write it fully, and within brackets you should say the shortcut. So next time whenever you come to use these open market operations, then you can continuously use the shortcut. Otherwise, if you are simply writing like OMO, so they will reduce the marks. So these are all some small issues as part of the examination. So what is meant by OMO? It is nothing but what? Sale or purchase of secondary government securities, by RBI through auction. So generally I told you, this time I told you about government securities and government securities, but I never explained you actually what is meant by government securities, right? So here now I will tell you what is meant by government securities also. But before we go into that, what is this exactly government what you call open market operations is all about? Open market operations is nothing but RBI buy or purchase. I mean it sells, it do the sale and also purchase of secondary government securities. Okay, and it will sell these government securities to whom? Banks itself, or else sometimes to the retail customers also. So selling of these government securities is nothing but open market operations, and openly in the market the RBI is selling or purchasing the government securities. That is called as OMO, that is open market operations. Okay, and this is not obligatory on banks. This is not obligation on banks. And when the RBI is selling the government securities, it is not mandatory that the banks must buy them. It is up to the banks, but generally banks buy them as part of the SLR, because we have locked that SLR part. If you see, SLR has to be maintained in terms of cash or gold or government securities. So generally I told you there the banks prefer the government securities itself. So what exactly a government security? So I will call it as GSEC. So that is called government security, right? So is a debt obligation. అంటే మీకు గవర్నమెంట్ సెక్యూరిటీ అంటే చెప్తున్నాను, ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎ డెట్ ఆబ్లిగేషన్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియన్ గవర్నమెంట్ టు ఫండ్ దేర్ ఫిస్కల్ డెఫిసిట్, దే ఆర్ ట్రేడబుల్. అంటే ఏంటి? యూ కెన్ ట్రేడ్ దెమ్ ఇన్ ద స్టాక్ ఎక్స్చేంజెస్. ఓకే, అండ్ ఆర్ ఇష్యూడ్ బై either state government or central government. అంటే స్టేట్ గవర్నమెంట్స్ కూడా గవర్నమెంట్ సెక్యూరిటీస్ రిలీజ్ చేస్తాయి. ఓకే, సో దే ఆర్ షార్ట్ టర్మ్ యాజ్ వెల్ యాజ్ లాంగ్ టర్మ్. అంటే దే మే బీ ఫర్ 1 year, or they may be for 2 years, or they may be for 3 years, depending on the timeline. So actually what is meant by a government security? So first, before you know that, you should know what is meant by fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit means it is the total borrowings of the government to support its expenditure in a particular year. For example, we introduce budget all the time, right, in the parliament. What exactly budget is all about? How the government is going to spend the money for the people for different aspects within 1 year. That is nothing but budget. So in budget generally we talk about two things. One is income, and the one is expenditure. For example, if you look at the last year's budget, forget about this year, last year's budget, it was around some 30 lakh crore, 30 lakshal kotlu మొత్తం central government budget. So in that particular budget, the total income of the government, if you see, the total income of the government, it was around some 24 lakh crore only. So rest of the 6 lakh crore, the government doesn't have the money with it. It is in deficit. So it has to bring the money, or it has to borrow the money from someone. It will never print the money. New money won't be printed. Those days were gone before 2002 itself. So generally the banks provide loans to the government, or else the government take the loans from different arenas. One way of generating the loans for the government is this government securities. And enti, the government release some bonds called government securities. They are debt instruments. Debt instruments means if any person buy this government security which is given on a piece of paper, they have to pay some money. Okay, so once you pay the money, after some point of time, after 1 year or 2 years, the government will give that principal amount plus interest amount. That principal amount plus interest amount. So that is called as government security. So here government security ante enti, the government is selling some bonds, and the banks or any people actually they are accepting those bonds by giving the money. So దాని వల్ల ఏమవుతుంది, గవర్నమెంట్కి మనీ వస్తుంది at a time. So at some point of time the government will give the money with some interest rate, right? So that is called as government security. So selling these government securities is nothing but what? Open market operations. So these open market operations is not mandatory, and any bank if it wishes to buy, it can buy. If any bank is wishes not to buy them, then it no need to buy. So that is called as open market operations. Now let us see how these open market operations can influence the money supply in the economy, right? So now let's say, so on behalf of actually the government, RBI sells these RBI sells these government securities generally. Okay, secondary government securities. Primary government securities are bought directly by the RBI from the government itself. Okay, so here in this case OMO under this GSEC, that is called government security. For example, if the RBI is selling more government securities, ante enti, banks are paying the money. Ante enti, by exchanging these government securities, banks are giving the money. Here means what? The liquidity with the banks or the money supply with the banks is what? It is reducing or increasing? It is not increasing, it is reducing. Endukante in terms of bank, the money is replaced by a government security. Now RBI is getting the money and the money supply is reduced, means you can control the inflation. Instead of selling, if the RBI is purchasing the government securities from the banks, if the RBI is purchasing them, so in turn the money is given to the banks plus interest rate. అంటే ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుంది, మనీ సప్లై ఆర్ లిక్విడిటీ దే విల్ ఇంక్రీజ్, విచ్ మీన్స్ the GDP may also increase and inflation may also increase, right? So this is the relation with the money supply and also inflation. Ante enti, if RBI is selling the government securities, money supply will decrease. If RBI is purchasing the government securities, if the RBI is purchasing the government securities, the money supply will decrease. Instead, one second. Yes, if the RBI is purchasing the government securities, money supply will increase. If the RBI is selling the government securities, the money supply with the banks will reduce. Likewise, simultaneously we can relate this to the inflation and also the GDP. Money supply in the economy, once it reduces, then definitely you may control the inflation. If the money supply increases, the GDP may also increase and inflation may also increase simultaneously. So this is about OMO. The next part. So this is over, this is over, this is over, this is over, this is over. Next one is MSF, marginal standing facility rate. So let me get this point to you. MSF, that is marginal standing facility rate. So what is meant by MSF? I told you sometimes banks they are in need of money. Sometimes banks they face the financial mismatches. So those times banks require more money. There the banks actually can go under the repo rate and they can take or they can avail any loan from the RBI. For example, if you look with some insightfulness, I already told you, without collateral RBI will never give any loan to any bank. And under the repo rate, what is the collateral that you are forwarding to RBI? Extra government securities that a bank bought under the SLR. Isn't it so? Extra government securities bought under the SLR. So that is what actually you are giving as collateral as part of the repo rate. So for example, your extra government securities and under the repo rate meeku oka limit untundi, and up to one limit only you can take the money, beyond that limit you cannot take the money. So those limits are not necessary for us because sometimes they change and sometimes they may not change, and it is a pure technical business of banking. If you want to become a bank manager, or if you want to become a bank employee, still you don't want it. If you are part of RBI with so much of technical details, and if you are working under the RBI's committees and all, then these matter, these things does matter. Now it no more matters because UPSC never asked such questions, and it will never ask you such questions also in future. So in that particular case, there will be some limit under the repo rate, but still after exhausting that limit, if the bank still want to get some loans from RBI, what it can do, that route is this, that is marginal standing facility. Ante what I can tell you, it is an additional window of borrowing. It is an additional window of borrowing. Banks, as I told you, without security banks will never get a loan from RBI. But here what security you can provide? I told you, under the SLR, if the stipulated 10% is the SLR, 10% of your demand and time liabilities you can buy as government securities. Extra also you can buy for government securities. What I told you, this extra you can put as a collateral under the repo rate. అయితే ఇక్కడ for the marginal standing facility rates, the actual SLR government securities, the actual prescribed limit of government securities అంటే ఏంటి? I told you, under the statutory liquidity ratio, some portion of demand and time liabilities should be put aside in terms of the cash or gold or government securities with the bank itself. Extra also you can buy, it is the wish of the bank అని చెప్పాను. ఆ ఎక్స్ట్రా పక్క పెట్టండి, we have already talked about that in the repo rate. So this SLR government securities you can put as a collateral. అంటే ఏంటి? Banks can keep government securities held under SLR for this MSF. But as I told you, once you exhaust the limit of repo rate, then only you can go for MSF. అంటే ఏంటి? You are additionally asking the money. Additionally you are asking the money from the RBI, isn't it so? So additionally when you are doing something, additionally you have to pay also. So additional interest rate will also be. That's why interest rate for the MSF, interest rate will always be a repo rate plus 1% or 2%. And if the repo rate is 4%, MSF would be 5% or 6%, depending on what is said by RBI itself. This also changes in every bi-monthly policy. It may change, it may not change. That is what RBI will say. Okay, and there is one more limit. The total money that the banks are taking under the MSF, the total money that the banks are taking under the MSF, they should not, and the total amount of money, it should not exceed 1% of banks net demand and time liabilities. Gross demand and time liabilities అంటే ఏంటి? The total deposits. Sorry, so please go back and pause yourself to get that particular screen, because unfortunately it got closed down. Okay, so it's very unfortunate, but anyway you can take that because it is a video which has already been recorded. You can go back bit, you can pause for a second and you can take that notes. Okay, rest of the things I will tell you now. So next one, it should not exceed, it should not, and the total amount of the money that you are taking as loan under the MSF, it should not exceed 1% of the bank's net demand and time liabilities. Gross demand and time liabilities అంటే ఏంటి? The total deposits. Net అంటే ఏంటి? After deducting the reserve deposit ratio, after deducting the vault cash, after deducting the CRR etc., under that net only 1%. And if your net demand and time liability is 70 rupees, right, and 100 rupees one person is depositing, under this CRR is 10%, SLR is 10%, ఓకే. సో రిజర్వ్ డిపాజిట్ రేషియో అవన్నీ ఒక 10% అనుకుందాం. సో మొత్తం తీసేస్తే 30%, ద రిమైనింగ్ అమౌంట్ ఈజ్ 70. అవుట్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ 1% అంటే 1/100 ఇంటూ 70, రైట్? జస్ట్ 7 rupees you can take as loan under the MSF. That too the interest rate would be higher. So it should not exceed greater than 1% of its net and demand and time liabilities. So that is called marginal standing facility rate. Okay. So now let us see how this is related to marginal standing facility rate, how this is related to money supply and as well inflation control. Now let us see. For example, under the MSF, if interest rate is higher, banks will take the few loans, right? Banks will take the loans in a very decreased manner. Appudu em avutundi, the liquidity that is available with the banks will also go down. When the liquidity is reducing, money supply will also reduce. Because of that, the inflation you can control, and by increasing the MSF interest rate you may control the inflation. Reverse is also true. If I reduce this interest rate, banks can avail more loans. If more loans are available, the liquidity increases, which means the money supply also increases. Because of that, the GDP may also increase. It may also increase the inflation. So this is how, by increasing or decreasing the interest rates of MSF, the RBI can effectively control this particular money supply and inflation as well. So this is called marginal standing facility rate. Okay. Apart from this, what are the other things that we have to complete in this? This is over, 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 this is over. Liquid adjustment facility, we will talk about this once these things are over. Now these are all very small things. Idi chinnade, idi chinnade. We'll talk about the bank rate. Okay. Now let us talk about this, which is last part of this class. What is meant by bank rate? Once upon a time, bank rate is nothing but your repo rate. And when the repo rate was not introduced, we used to call this as bank rate, and it is the rate of interest charged by the RBI for lending to the banks. It is the rate of interest charged by the RBI for lending to the banks. But today, now this bank rate, it is not used as a tool under the monetary policy. Now currently we are using the bank rate as penalty rate, and if any bank is not exactly following the rules of RBI, some penalty has to be done, right? So kind of penalty rate we are using. Actually the bank rate is a negligible importance now. Okay. So bank rate, this terminology is not using. Bank rate terminology is not using. It is the rate of interest which is charged by the central bank while lending loans to a normal banks. That is called as bank rate. మీరు ఇప్పుడు కొన్ని వెబ్సైట్లో చూసినా కూడా బ్యాంక్ రేట్కి ఇదే వస్తుంది, బట్ దిస్ వాజ్ గాన్ నౌ. Bank rate is a concept in the economic segment earlier days, but now there is nothing called as bank rate. Now this is known as repo rate. Okay, right? So bank rate is the rate at which the RBI provides the loans to the commercial banks, earlier without any security. So now there was nothing kind like no repurchase obligation, such kind of things are not there. So ippudu దాన్ని రెపో రేట్ అంటున్నాం. దిస్ ఈజ్ రీపర్చేజ్ ఆబ్లిగేషన్. సో దట్స్ వై ఇఫ్ యూ లుక్ దిస్ బ్యాంక్ రేట్ నౌ, వాట్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ డెఫినేషన్ దట్ యూ విల్ సీ ఇన్ ద ఇంటర్నెట్ ఆల్సో, ఇట్ ఈస్ ద ఇంట్రెస్ట్ రేట్ టేకెన్ బై RBI for providing the loans to the commercial banks, but without any repurchase obligation and without any security, right? So that is called as bank rate. Now this classification is gone, so that's why there is a very less chance that they will ask you a question on this. So as of May 2020, bank rate is 4.25%, repo rate is 4%. And presently what is bank rate ante? Simple, without any collateral, RBI gives loans to the banks as a gesture. Then bank rate antam. Reverse repo rate is 4%, reverse repo rate is 3.75%. Always I told you, repo rate should be greater than reverse repo rate. Okay. So bank rate and repo rate, they are always similar in manner. Okay, the only difference is repo rate is used to lend the money for short term, while the bank rate is for long term. Ante difference. Long term bank rate, repo rate short term repurchase obligation ఉంటుంది, అంతే. Beyond that you no need to study. bank rate is used for long term loans, repo rate is for short term loans. So this is the end of today's class. So there we will stop. Any other related aspects, that is liquid adjustment facility, qualitative quantitative tools, so mala segregation chestam deenni, like which one is used for long term, which one is used for medium term, all these things we will study in the coming class. And thank you all of you. And one more thing, yesterday there was a class about I think yesterday we have given you an exam. We have conducted an exam in online, 20 questions exclusively for economy, but very few people have written. Around 8 people have written the examination, around 6 to 7 people have attended to the class. So I don't know why this happened. Is it because of no communication, or it is because of your ignorance? I don't know, but I tell you one thing, the more you do the practice and the more you write the exams, the more you will get closer to the UPSC examination. So this is the only thing I want to say. It is up to you whether you want to write it or whether you do not want to write it, whether you come to the class or do not want to come to the class. That is your prerogative, because all your confidence and all your confidence, reality, everything, you know more about yourself. Okay, we can only suggest you. We can only take a horse to a pond. It is up to the horse whether to drink water in it or not. So I tell you one thing, whenever there is an examination, just don't skip it. 20 questions, at most it will take you 20 minutes, and that too it is online, it will take you 10 minutes. So at least just give the 10 minutes, you will learn many things if you write more mock tests. Okay, so I hope that next time all of you will write the examination and will attend the class also. And thank you. This is the end of today's class. Any questions, you are free to ask me. Thank you.